Welcome to Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports, where husky middle-aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports. Jason, John, and Mike here with a very, very special guest, Baltimore Ravens Senior Director of Digital Strategy and Innovation, Dave Lang. Wow, that's a mouthful, Dave.
Yeah, it's definitely a mouthful for a title.
Holy mackerel.
I'm basically, I do digital. I'm the digital guy.
Well, that's good. So we have something in common. I'm very good. Like, I'm in charge of all of our tech stuff. I'm really good. I can't even turn the computer on. So that's why we have John. So John's in charge of all of that. So
I'm young.
Yes. I am
Well,
not.
thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course, man. Thank you.
We could have used Dave when John had his big letter J on the screen for the last two episodes, but couldn't figure out how to get it off.
Oh, God, John. You are amazing, John. Let me tell you. Anyway, enough making fun of John. We have plenty of time for that. Dave, before we kick this off, we ask all of our guests the same question. What is, and I know with what you're doing now with training, it might be a little different, but what is your go-to dad bod snack?
Can I give you two?
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing beats a nice, warm, freshly baked chocolate chip cookie. I could go for even no matter what the situation is. If there is a chocolate chip cookie out, I'm going to eat it. But then I would say secondary one would be ice cream. In my house, we have a thing called Sunday Sundays. So every Sunday, except for when I'm at a Ravens game. We get together, we get all the different flavors out and all the toppings, and my family, we just get together and eat ice cream.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now, I will say I was told to bring a snack. So my wife also loves baking. My kids love baking. So I do have some freshly baked brownies here, which, I'm not going to complain about.
Oh, man. Look at you.
I'll take these.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I'm not training for marathons, Dave. So if I ate that, not only would I go into a diabetic coma, I would also gain a ton of weight. But we'll get to that. So I actually brought you on here because I wanted to talk about our college days and all of those times that we went to certain places like Rudy Kazooties. And actually, I told all the guys I wouldn't bring all that up. But lots of stories. No, I'm just kidding. No, good times in college. Dave and I have known each other for about 20 years now. And again, he has been an employee now with the Ravens for 20 years? Your 20th season?
Yeah, this is my 20th season starting here.
Oh, that's outstanding. That's really cool.
Started out as an intern way back when.
And what were you in the same department when you were an intern?
Yeah, I think I was the first digital intern actually when our department was 2 people, and now we have over 30 in our department.
So were you on VHS tapes back then, or was?
It's funny. I tell people this. You'll laugh. So when I started Ravens Digital, Ravens Media, we had a website, BaltimoreRavens.com. We had a message boards, and we had a MySpace page. That was it. Yeah. So you say MySpace, and that just takes you back to that time. But and then over the years, obviously, I created our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter pages back in the day. Our first mobile site and our mobile app. So there's been, obviously, technology has evolved over the years, and always trying to push the envelope, do cool things.
Oh, that's awesome. If you guys can't tell, Dave is from New York originally.
New Jersey. Northern New Jersey.
Right, I'm sorry. Northern New Jersey. Okay, come on.
Right next to New York, but
right,
I don't claim it.
You don't claim it. All right. But he is a Mets fan, guys. So, I'd love to make fun of him, but your life is just as miserable as our lives.
Yeah. We suffer together.
Oh God, it's terrible, isn't it? Oh.
I went to the yard last night. I was rooting for the Orioles to beat the Yankees. We obviously have that in common. Unfortunately, they did not come through, but it was a good time there. We cheered on our guy Pete Alonso, my daughter's favorite player still.
Oh, that's outstanding. Mike was at the game too. See, you guys.
I was. Dave, where were you sitting, buddy?
We met up. We were in section 10 down the right field line.
Okay, we were out in the splash zone getting Mr. Splash soaking us with the Kobe Mayo home run. We needed our ponchos, and I got a couple of the balls. The outfielders throw them in after the warm-ups. We got 2 of those, and Julie got pegged by somebody from the bullpen. So a lot of action out in left field last night.
That's awesome. Hey, you know what? Okay, we have something in common here because when Pete Alonso singled, the ball got tossed to the ball girl on the side, and she gave it to my daughter. So she went home with the ball as well.
That's outstanding.
That's fantastic.
Look at you guys taking home.
Just hit a home run.
Oh, did he?
Outstanding. So what's the score now, John? I'll let you do an update.
It is 3-2 with a 3-1 count on Henderson in the bottom of the third with 1 out. And we got Basayo back, so that's a good
3-2 who?
Bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. All right. Well, we wanted to bring Dave on here because I really wanted, there's a couple different things we wanted to get out of this. Dave, I really was curious, obviously, about your journey with the Ravens. We kind of got an idea of that. Tell me right now, when you were there all the way up to this year, you've only experienced one coaching staff.
Well, actually, my first season was Brian Billick's last season. So I went through that coaching transition to John Harbaugh and now this one.
So I know talking to you in the past, you were a big fan of all those guys. And I know you're a big fan of Ozzie and the rest of those guys. So what has the transition been like over the years? And then especially this one going from John to these guys, because Mike and I were on Team John all the way through, and we were kind of devastated for a while. We had to have a couple shows where we cried, but it was all right. We got over it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people in our building who'll be pulling for the Giants this year and wishing John the best, and we want to see him succeed. Because, I mean, an NFL head coach to be in one place for 18 years is pretty rare. Lot of great relationships, not just with John, but the rest of his coaching staff. A lot of them joined him in New York. So, nothing but love for all those guys and gals, and really, really hoping to see them do well. And I mean, with Jesse coming in, I would say the thing that everybody kind of keeps talking about is there's just a new energy in the building. It's not like we're going to say it's better than it was before. It's just different. And then I think any time there's a change, there's just a different kind of energy. It's a fresh feeling. And I think there's just a lot of positivity. And I mean, you guys know that we're not a team that's in a rebuilding mode, right? Like, this team is poised to win now. So I think everybody's just kind of excited at where this team could go. Obviously going into last season, expectations were really high. And they are equally as high this season. But I think everybody's just really kind of chomping at the bit to get started. And I mean, you guys remember, 2011, how great that team was, and it ended in disappointment. And, I'm not going to say that this season feels like that at all, but, you saw, the players that came back the following year. I think that experience made them even hungrier, and I think there's an intense focus for everybody on all the details and going back to the playoffs. That's step one, and then getting where we want to go.
Outstanding. Now, with Jesse essentially being here before and coming back, have you seen that with him in the building, it's just been an easy transition? Like, it wasn't like he never left, or is it completely different?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm really the best person to speak to that, on the business side. Obviously he's going to come in and do things a little bit differently, right? It's not just going to be like turning the page and, we have new signs up in the building, and, he's got his way of doing things. But I think fundamentally, you mentioned Ozzie earlier, right? And this franchise has such stability with Steve Bisciotti starting there, and then from Dick Cass to Sachi Brown and Ozzie and Eric. So I think there's the foundation. Jesse's not coming in and blowing things up, and it's not like a whole new organization. There's the principles of what the Ravens are still remain there and always will.
Outstanding. Well, unfortunate news recently was the passing of OJ Brigance after a long battle with ALS. I mean, good heavens, it was from like 2007, I think, was when he was diagnosed. Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
My wife's mom passed from ALS, and it was just about a year and a half. That's an incredible amount of time with that. But I know, Dave, it's very there's a very special place in your heart for OJ. And I mean, if you just want to kind of go over a little of that and explain what you're doing, I mean, what you're doing is incredible. And I know all of us are pretty impressed.
Yeah, I mean, well, let me just start. I mean, I feel like most people in Baltimore and your listeners and viewers are probably familiar with OJ's story. And I just mentioned a minute ago about the foundational pieces of the Ravens, and OJ is and forever will be a part of that. Made that first tackle in Super Bowl 35, set the tone, and then came back and worked in our player development side. And then, so I started in 2007. And I met OJ literally weeks after he had been diagnosed with ALS. I did not even know at the time. I don't think anybody in the building knew at the time. But I mean, just OJ, an incredible human being, and was given 2 to 5 years to live. Was told he wouldn't see his 40th birthday, and he just passed at the age of 57 or 56, and lived 19 years fighting this disease. I'm wearing this shirt right now. It's a Brigance Brigade shirt, inspiration. I mean, he is the ultimate inspiration. I don't think I've ever met anybody in life more inspirational than him. So you mentioned to talk about what I'm doing here. I am going to be running in January. I'm running 7 marathons on 7 different continents in the span of 7 consecutive days. We'll get into it in a second, but it's something that's been on my mind for 8 years. And in addition to wanting to, I have 3 girls, so I want to be a great example for them and show them that if you have big dreams and you work hard, you can achieve anything, and don't let anybody tell you it's crazy. But I also recognize that this is a pretty special feat. Fewer than 300 people in the world have ever accomplished it, ever. So I knew it would get some attention. And I figured it'd be a little selfish to do it just for myself. I'd want to use it as a platform to generate some positivity and support a great cause. So I always knew 8 years ago when I got this idea in my head, I wanted to support OJ's foundation, the Brigance Brigade Foundation. And so my goal here is to raise $100,000, with all the money going directly to the foundation to support families and people battling ALS and helping provide them the support that they need.
Oh, that's outstanding. So this 7 days on 7 different continents, are you flying solo for this, or are you dragging the family to every continent?
The family would love to come. I told they want to see the penguins in Antarctica and all, and I told them it'd be a little pricey. So they are going to meet me at the final race in Miami, but I am not going solo. So the World Marathon Challenge is actually an organized race. It's run every year at the end of January, a week before the Super Bowl, and they take a maximum of 60 people. And so everybody meets in Cape Town, South Africa, and you get on a Russian cargo plane and you fly to Antarctica, land on the ice. And then once you start running the marathon there, then the clock starts. You have 168 hours to finish. So you run in Antarctica. You have 8 hours to finish each race. And then you get on the plane, you go back to Cape Town and you run there for South Africa. And then you go to Perth, Australia, and where it's summertime and about 100 degrees. And then you fly to Dubai, run there for Asia, and then Madrid, Spain, Fortaleza, Brazil, and then it wraps up in Miami. So about 25,000 miles of flying a week, 183.4 miles run. And also what I'm going to manifest is, after all that flying, is I want one more 3,000-mile flight a week later to go to SoFi Stadium and watch the Ravens win Super Bowl 61 in LA.
Wow.
It'd be the greatest week ever, right?
No kidding. Oh, that sounds wow. So what are the dates?
The first race is scheduled for January 30th.
Okay.
Yeah, provided that the weather in Antarctica cooperates. Could be moved up, could be moved back. We'll see.
That's outstanding. I think, John, we should do a dad bod show from Miami when he crosses the finish line. And
Miami in early February, right? Great time to go.
Right. Yeah, well, John and I are in Florida. Mike's still back in Baltimore, but that's outstanding, Dave. Oh, I'd love to hear that. So
are you flying in this Russian cargo plane to every single stop?
No, that's just to get to Antarctica, and then once you get back to Cape Town, then you get on a charter plane with a little leg room and flying around the world in that.
So when you sign up for this, do you just pay like an entry fee and it covers everything, or do you have to pay for each individual flight and like everything in?
So I am responsible for getting myself to Cape Town and my hotel in Cape Town, and then I'm responsible for my hotel in Miami and getting myself home from Miami. And I do have to cover like food on the continents, but yeah, the race entry fee, which is quite pricey, does cover all the logistics, like the flights around the world, the food on the planes, the medical staff, video and photography, the actual races, like they're set up. It's not like the races are not like the Baltimore Marathon or the New York Marathon where anybody can enter. It's a race that's set up just for this group of people, but they set it up like a normal race course with, Gatorades and water and snacks and all on the side. And yeah.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Dave, so logistically, having drug myself to a half marathon at one point in my life and understanding that I almost died and thinking that you're going to do 7 marathons in 7 days, walk me through the mental toughness it takes to do this. And I think what a great honor in honor of OJ for you to do this. And secondly, I'm a dad bod guy. How do you eat during, like, what does that even look like? The nutrition piece to this in 7 races in 7 days. Like, what does that look like?
Okay, so first, to answer your first question here, I actually believe that this is probably more of a mental challenge than a physical one, and I like to think of myself as generally mentally a tough person. And I also just have always thought, like, okay, yes, I'm not going to be naive, right? Running 7 marathons in 7 days is a challenge. Running one marathon is a challenge, right? But I have always just thought about what OJ went through every single day of his life, living with ALS, and he would still come to work every day. So to get himself ready, I can't imagine. It probably took him 3 hours to get ready every morning, and then he'd come to work and just go through his day. He had to everything he spoke, he had to type with his eyes, looking at the computer and typing out letter by letter. And I mean, I don't think any of us can fathom that kind of challenge, like just to go through your daily life. And I always felt if he can just get through a day and not complain about it and have a positive attitude, then I feel like running 7 marathons will be easier than that. And, I'm sure it will get tough at some point, but I can just kind of look to him and think of him. And I think that'll give me the strength. And, I never saw him complain. So I feel like I don't have any, no matter how hard it gets, I have no right to complain. And yeah, I mean, I have the ultimate inspiration, and all along I expected OJ. I mean, it never really crossed my mind, despite his condition, that he would not be alive to see me finish this race. So now, I mean, there was already a 0% chance that I wasn't going to finish, but now that he has passed and is with me in spirit, there's even less of a 0% chance that I'll finish. I definitely know that I'll have his spirit with me, and it'll get me through this. To your second question about the dad bod stuff, so my coworkers and family members can attest to this. I generally eat a lot anyway. I love eating. I eat a lot of food. I feel like my diet hasn't really changed a whole lot since I started training. I've added supplements and things, protein powder, creatine, electrolytes, lots of different things in my shakes and my, concoctions. And it'll be interesting. I'm going to be talking soon. I had some conversations with some of our nutritionists in the building, and we're going to be talking more just for race time, because I won't necessarily have access to all the things that you have if you're signed up to run a normal race. So I'll see what I can pack, and I'll see what I can buy on certain continents. It'll be interesting.
So I want to know, what type of support do you have over at the castle? Like, has everyone rallied around you? Like, what's the vibe like?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are excited. I get stopped in the cafeteria a lot. A lot of people want to ask me questions, and a lot of my coworkers have generously donated to the fundraiser, and the people on the football side, like I mentioned, like strength and conditioning and nutrition, have offered advice, and even some of our partners. I mean, MedStar Health, great sponsor of the Ravens. They have connected me with some of their doctors and running specialists, and our friends over at Under Armour sent me a nice care package of some lovely gear for all climates. So I mean, I know that I'm in a blessed position, right? Where, we have people that this matters a lot to, and they can offer support and resources. So it's cool to see how people have rallied and want to help. I mean, it almost to the point like people there's so many people that have reached out to offer like different advice and assistance that sometimes it's like too much. It's like I appreciate everybody, but it's you get overloaded sometimes. So, but it's all great, and everybody wants to support the great cause, and they know the reason I'm doing this for OJ, so everybody wants to see me cross that finish line.
So
Oh,
Dave,
that's
where
awesome.
where can people follow you? Where can they go to donate? Where can they go to support you and support your,
See, I was
you know,
prepared for
your
this.
you're kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to think because I have like all these thoughts in my head going like, okay, so I get running like in all 6 continents and then Antarctica. Like, do you wear football
uh,
cleats or something?
Actually, you just wear like trail shoes. You're running on ice and all, but there's some snow, and a pair of trail shoes is enough. But my website here brought this with me, 777 for ALS.com. For the listeners, it's 777 FORALS.com. That's got the whole my story and information about OJ and the Brigance Brigade, and then it's got a link to my fundraiser page on there, which has a much longer URL, but people can go on there and donate. And then also on the socials, on Instagram, TikTok, I'm at Dave Dreams Big. Dave Dreams Big on the socials. And I will say when I first set out to do this, my goal was to raise $57,000 in honor of OJ's number 57. And then very early on, I was having some conversations with people and kind of tossing it out there. And a few people told me, I think you're aiming too low. Like, this is a really big deal. People will rally behind this. You need to aim higher. So I said, okay, fine, let's go for 100. So the goal is to raise $100,000. We're at about 14 right now. But over the next few months, as we get closer here, I know, and we start spreading the word, I know we're going to pick up and we're going to meet that goal. And I think I might have said this earlier, but all 100% of all the donations go right to the Brigance Brigade, and they give them to families who need resources and support. Maybe it's those eye gaze machines that I talked about, or a specialized wheelchair, or they need a wheelchair ramp, home renovation, kind of whatever these people need to help them, because the average cost of living with ALS is $200,000 per year. So we're going to try to help some people out, make their lives a little easier.
What a great cause, Dave. That sounds awesome. And we will definitely put your site up on our site and try to help out the best we can. I mean, I am very proud of you, Dave. I think this is a great cause. I mean, we're right behind you. We're cheering you all the way.
Yeah, I appreciate your guys' support. And again, thanks so much for having me on and helping me spread the word to the Baltimore community
It is
and beyond.
absolutely our pleasure. Well, Dave, you have a great night. Thanks again. And we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Go O's.
Well done,
Go
Dave.
Ravens.
Good luck, buddy.
See you guys.
All right. So just for everyone joining us a little late, that was Dave Lang, I'm going to try this again, Senior Director of Digital Strategy and Innovations with the Baltimore Ravens. He is doing something incredible and running the World Marathon Challenge, 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days. I will never run a marathon in my entire life, and this man is going to do it in 7 days. Go to 777 4ALS.com. Please donate. Check out the story. It is all in support of the Brigance Brigade, for OJ Brigance, who we unfortunately lost earlier this week.
It's all up on our Facebook page, Jason. I just posted everything up there for our loyal listeners.
Outstanding. All right, guys. Before we get started, just want to remind everyone we are now part of the Spark Podcast Network. See, it's so much easier now, John. Spark Podcast Network. And we could not be happier. All right, guys. Well, we kind of hit the ground running here with Dave. This was pretty awesome. So, I mean, I'll just keep it going. We can do the Dad Bods question of the day. And this is going to be kind of because Dave was here. I want to know the hardest thing you guys have ever done, physically or mentally. And you cannot say, I'm a husband or I'm a father, because we get it. That shit is hard. But I want to know what strains you to the point mentally and physically. Andor. Let's go, John. You can go first. I can see that
Well,
the wheels turning.
mine's easy. I
Okay.
mean, breaking both of my legs and ripping my knee up and my arm in a car accident, and then being back on the baseball field in less than 2 years.
That's impressive, John. And that was the hardest
Oh,
thing you've ever done, mentally and physically.
Mentally and physically, yeah, going from a wheelchair to doing that.
Well, see, now I feel like mine's just gonna suck because like that's inspirational. Man, okay, so here's the thing. I was really fat at one point, really fat. Like at one point I was like 250 pounds. I'm only like 5'7", right? So I was like a giant Oompa Loompa. And I just made this decision that I was going to lose weight. And I did a bunch of things, changed for diet, and along that way I made a decision. I'm like, I'm losing weight, so I'm going to set a challenge. And I used to go to Ocean City, New Jersey all the time when I lived in Maryland, and they have this Memorial Day challenge. And it was about almost a 3-mile race. The whole race was just about on white sand with a little patches of doing like hard sand. And the first year I did it, and I started running, and there's other obstacles along the way. You have to like go underneath things. You got to balance yourself, carry sand. Like you need more sand. You have to carry sand things on your shoulders. The first year I did it, and I did it like over 30 some minutes or whatever. It might've been longer. Actually, it was probably a lot longer than that. And I walked a good portion of it because it was the burning and the craziness, and it hurt. And I wanted to stop. But I didn't, because I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. But I walked a good portion of it. Then the next year, I'm like, I'm going to do it again. And this year, my wife joined me. Mike joined me, and he did it too. And we had a plan, and we're all ready. We're all stay together. And we started off, and they just kept going. And I'm like, oh, they left me. Those sons of, they left me. And I'm playing like I'm running the whole time. I'm like, I'm going to catch them. I'm fine. Yeah, thank you, God. But never found them until I got to the finish line, and they had already finished, and I think they were gone. They actually went home. But I did not. I made up my mind.
We were cheering you on at the finish line. We were still there.
But I made my mind up. I would not walk. I did not walk that year. I ran the whole time. I beat the time from the year before pretty easily, but it was the most painful thing I think I have ever done as far as physical exertion that way. Mike, your turn.
If we're talking like mental toughness, like sports wise, I think definitely the half that I ran with my friend Dave. He ran the official half, and I was too cheap to run the real half, so I ran next to him and didn't get timed on the what's the trail? Oh, the NCR trail out in Timonium that runs up north to 83. It's pretty flat, but like that was 13.1 miles, and I did it in under 2 hours was my goal. So I was happy with that. I mean, it's not like anything like what the real runners do, but I felt like for me at that point in time, well into my 30s, it was a good job. And then I had a couple from my youth. I remember one I did was a 50-mile canoe trip with the Scouts once, and that like if you're paddling, like it wasn't like rushing water. It was like you haul your rear end with your paddle, up and down it was the Finger Lakes up in New York. So like up there. So that was one that was tough that comes to mind. And then obviously just like John, like I'm proud of you for like that injury recovery thing. Cause I tore my ACL once, and like that mentally, like that's so hard, but like for you to have what you had going on was like so much beyond that. Very impressive.
Look at you, John. All kinds of flowers and nonsense. Good job.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. So I guess we'll kick it off. Let's do O's talk. John, give us a update on the game here.
So it's 3-2 with one out in the bottom of the fourth. We just left 2 runners on base last inning, and just leaving guys on base, and the offense is not delivering.
Who's pitching for both teams in this game, John?
Bassett and Warren.
I mean, look. And we're gonna talk about last night. I'm still like at this point in this game. I mean, 3 runs, guys, 3 runs should. I mean, these pitchers are keeping their team in the games. These starting pitchers, and I know last night was a little hard towards the end with the bullpen. Last night, Boz gave them everything you could ask for, and I guess you could say that start was wasted. It only was wasted because they lost. I mean, to me, it's like he's been doing it consistently for a while, but they needed that. They needed somebody to get up and shove so that they could give that bullpen a break, and they did for the most part. But yeah, I mean, things have gotten a little tough on as far as hitting goes, and they're going to have to score runs, Mike, because 3 runs here, 2 runs there. I mean, it's not going to get it done if they want to try to make a push here.
Yeah, like last night was my first trip to the ballpark, which was exciting. I didn't know what to expect because, sometimes when you have a Yankees and Orioles game, it becomes Yankees South, New York, little New York and Baltimore. But I feel like it was 65-35, like Orioles. I know it's midweek. It's not a weekend series. That probably helps a little bit. But there was still a little bit of a buzz in Camden Yards, like more than I expected this time of year, especially the way they've been playing up and down. And then when I looked at the Yankees starting lineup when they announced it, their number 3 and 4 hitters were guys they acquired at the trade deadline. They weren't even like their lineup was not scary at all. And I know obviously you turn it around and you see Gunnar and Pete, like those are legit major league hitters. And I feel like we have as good a chance as anybody, especially with Boz. He had 5 strikeouts in the first 6 batters. And he's dealing. He's got his A game. You turn around and this Gresham fella, who's batting like 225 on the year, ends up with all 3 RBIs and a bomb, and you lose 3-1 in a game where you had plenty of opportunities, like John said tonight, to score runs and to cash them in. And it's frustrating because it's so up for grabs, I feel like, in the American League this year. It's anybody's game. But we're just as bad as everybody else.
Right. And, Grissom last year or what was his name? Who am I talking about?
Gresham, yeah.
He had over 30 home runs last year. So, I mean, he runs into a bunch, and he has good at bats. And last night it stung us, obviously. Are the Yankees okay? So I see here are the Orioles? How far away are they from the Yankees? I guess is the question. And I preface this, John, by saying that the Yankees have a bunch of wins this year, like they're up in the standings, but a lot of that happened because of earlier in the year, before Judge went down. Bellinger's on the IR, or IL, whatever they call it nowadays. And then they had a couple of Garrett Cole was out early. Like there's a lot of in and out.
Stanton
as well. So, I mean, like you said, Mike, yeah, I mean, it was like a mash unit out there in comparison to what they're normally, like Ryan McMahon, I think, was batting towards the top half of the lineup. Like, what the heck? Yeah, John, so what do you think? Are the Yankees for real as far as a legitimate playoff contender, or they just kind of holding place until the other guys come back?
I think just in watching the game last night and watching the game tonight, nothing in that lineup really scares me. If I'm the Orioles manager, if I'm any manager, there's not much in that lineup that really scares me. As I look at their lineup tonight, it's all they have sitting on their bench are right-handed hitters. They don't even have any lefties. And once the big boppers come back, then it's scary. But with the lineup they have right now, you're not striking. What are you going to do? Get guys on base and run you to death? I mean, that's about what this lineup can do. This lineup is not with Stanton and Judge in the middle where you got to decide who you're going to pitch to, how you're going to pitch to somebody, because you got, 2 guys who can take the ball out of the ballpark on any given pitch, where now it's more of a small ball speed. And granted, we got beat by a home run last night, but I'm not.
John, let me real quick run their lineup down for tonight for you. Just a couple. Gresham's leading off. He's batting 226. Then you have Rice, who hits a lot of bombs, right? He's only batting 250. He's a good player. Rice is a good player. Then you've got Garcia, who they acquired at the deadline, and Ramos, who they acquired at the deadline. And then you've got Jazz Chisholm batting 214, Spencer Jones batting 215, McMahon batting 217. Lombard, who is their shortstop since Volpe went. They sent him down, and then you've got their catching woes that they've had all year long. That's why they were trying to get Adley at the deadline. You have Wells in the catching spot, batting 176.
Yeah. What do you think their record is in July? 15 games in, if anybody wanted to guess. You want to give a shot, Mike?
What is the question? What was their record in July?
What do you think their record in July is? If you had to guess.
So how many games did they play in July? 30?
15 games.
They only played 15 games in all of July.
July? August. Sorry. August.
I bet they're 8-7. I don't know.
100%. Good guess, Mike. Yeah. So 8-7. So they are about a 500 team this month. I have a feeling if I went back in July, I would probably see something pretty similar. The thing is, guys, they don't have to be phenomenal. All they got to do is be 500 and they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to probably finish in the top wildcard spot. So it's something to be said about getting off to a good start, right? And then just holding on until your guys come back, the cavalry, if you will. To me, it's an easy suggestion. I don't think they're that far above the Orioles, though. Record-wise, maybe, but the one thing they don't seem to do is shoot themselves in the foot like the Orioles do. And I've seen so much of it. What did you say? You always told Julie, we find new ways to lose. That's what we do
every day.
Yes, it's a good time. So good news though on the horizon. Well, actually, it is now happening. Sam Basayo is back as of tonight off the IL, so we'll see. They need that jolt. Even on bigger news, guys, I'm seeing Felix Bautista and Blaze Alexander are about to start rehab games. I did not think that Felix was even a possibility of coming back this year. I don't even know, though, if they have made the announcement that he is going to come back. But for me, Mike, I think it's great news.
It certainly gives you the sense of hope, because when we think of Felix, we think of Felix from those really good teams that intimidated the heck out of your opponent. And when it was the 8th inning, the game was over. So that's the hope that I feel like when you hear his name and him coming back. I think some of the reality does have to seep in, though, right? Because if he does come back, he's got to go on a rehab stint. I'd say the earliest he's back is early September is my guess. And then you only have 20 games maybe with Felix, and how many will he have an impact in? The question is, can the Orioles tread water long enough for him to matter, number one? Number two, will he be the same guy? Because the surgery that he had on his shoulder is a legitimate surgery. That was nothing easy, little, small. They said it was like TJ or worse. So I think we've got to keep in mind that there is the possibility he might not throw as hard. He might not have the same movement. He might not have the same biomechanics. But that's what this 3-week period, I guess, is all about right now. I'd be lying to you to say I wasn't encouraged and excited about the fact that he could be back in an Orioles uniform. And I think that could be a big lift for this team.
And what do you think about Sammy? What does Sammy do for this team at this point?
No, I think Sammy's huge. I think that, to me, if he can hit like he was hitting earlier this year, I think it's going to take him a week probably to get back into the flow of things. But we were getting nothing offensively from our catching. Think about those couple games we lost with the catcher up in the last at bat, and he had absolutely no chance to get on base. I remember those games. I think they were in late July. They were just dying to have Sammy or Adley in that spot, and we couldn't get a healthy catcher in that spot. So I feel like if we have those situations here through the end of the season, he'll drive in runs, he'll move runners, he'll be at least a presence in the lineup and give other players some pitches to see and hit. So hopefully Petey and Gunnar maybe see a few more fastballs with Basayo hitting behind them than fill in the blank, O'Neill, yada, yada, etc.
And John, what are your thoughts? Sammy back, possibly Bautista.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I said this last time, was that, you look at the back of the bullpen. Come September, you may have 2 all-star closers in the back end of your bullpen. So if Bautista, again, this is all hypothetical until we see Bautista pitch, because, we don't know about the shoulders. It's a huge injury, and we don't know what's going on with Helsley if he's going to come back. But assuming both of those guys come back and are even 80% of what they are. That's two huge arms to have in the back of a bullpen. And with the way Cam Sanders has been pitching, with the way that he's been going, you could have your 7th, 8th, and 9th innings come second week in September. We could go on a run, assuming you can get a couple runs and the starters continue to pitch well. If all these things fall in line, you could be ending up with the best 3 guys in the back of your bullpen you could ask for, and we could be in a very good situation. But like tonight, though, Sammy's at first. Pete's hurt. Pete has a issue. I believe it's his calf. He hasn't been there. So tonight, you have Mayo at third. You got Sammy at first. You got Narvaez catching, and he's an upgraded defender back there. And Connor was talking to Locked On Orioles this morning. I think this morning or last night. I don't remember. Either this morning or last night. How he's thinking the Orioles may just carry 3 catchers and allow Pete to just continue to DH and have Basayo at first and have Mayo at third, and then rotate in Encarnacion Strand. But I think that these are we can score some runs to get that back of the bullpen going. That's where our issue. I mean, we should have swept the Rays. I was at Monday's game. The Rays fans thought the game was toast, and then Cano comes in the game and can't do anything.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, John. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I mean, you got to take advantage of opportunities. Leave too many guys on base. Last night, do we want to get into this tonight, Mike? Do we want to get into this?
Why not?
So, Mike is a big believer in bunt. I'm just kidding. So, last night, there was a situation in the game. I want to say it was the 8th inning. It might have been the 7th inning. It was one of the 2.
I think it was the 7th.
A 7th. Orioles had runners on first and second, no outs, with the hot hitting, smashing Carlos Narvaez coming up against Brent Hedrick, who is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball out of the bullpen this year. Just to give you a heads up, in 64 games, 78 strikeouts with a whip of 1.16, ERA of 1.57, he's 6-2. And I want to preface this by saying I am 90 to 95% against bunting. I think there's a place for it. I do not like giving up outs, especially when the team is not playing to the level they should. But in games in which they go to extra innings, I'm fine with advancing with the what do they call the Manfred runner on second base. So I'm good with that. But other than that, last night's situation, they then pinch hit for Narvaez, which is probably the best situation, and brought up Jeremiah Jackson to hit. And he's batting just south of 300 with runners in scoring position this year. Pretty good matchup, righty-lefty, except what the Orioles apparently did not seem to pay attention to is that Hedrick is a reverse splits guy. And lefties are hitting 265 against them. So it's still, but the hitters have to be able to hit against lefties though. So it's not just like all of a sudden, oh, this guy is good, so I can't wait. If you don't have the good approach or see the ball right, doesn't matter what his splits are, you're still not going to hit. So they could have pinched it with Cowser. It would have been weird. Could have saved him against a righty. So they go with Jeremiah Jackson. Unfortunately, he's also ice cold. Mike is saying that they should have more than likely bunted with Narvaez or even bunted with Jeremiah Jackson. And don't let me put words in your mouth, Mike, if I'm saying this incorrectly.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, either way is fine.
So for me, I'm saying absolutely not, because then what happens is you have a lefty after you give up the out. You now have a lefty against Holiday, and Holiday's again reverse split, but Holiday, and he's been hitting lefties a little better, but still not ideal, right? But then there's no righties on the bench because you added Jeremiah Jackson. So in my mind, I was okay with the approach to it because I don't like to give outs, and I didn't like the way it was setting itself up lefty against lefty like that. Mike, I'll let you give your argument.
No, and I don't think you're wrong. And I was kind of saying that last night. I was like, there's kind of just different ways to look at it. Personally, just the way this team has produced in these situations has not been very good. And so my thought process, and you could have just said, Jason, well, he ties the game or takes the lead with the swing, right? One swing, they take the lead, and you have an argument for it, right? So, like, I would say personally, Narvaez has been garbage at the plate. And so for me, rather than him strike out, which I thought he was going to do anyway, lay the bunt down. You still keep the righty on the bench. You let Holiday come up. He can't ground into a double play at that point. I mean, he can still hit into a double play. He can line drive and we can get a force out somewhere. But my thought process behind it was move the runners up. Let's get two guys in scoring position. You're down two. Get a guy on second, a guy on third, and a better hitter to try to drive them in. Versus now you have first and second one out. So I'd rather have second and third one out than first and second one out. And I'm sure the probability, you could put it in the machine or whatever. And I did some of that last night. It definitely says you should probably swing away. But you know what? I just go by gut sometimes. And I think sometimes gut is what you need in some of those situations, because I think what the stats don't take into account is the lift it gives your team when someone has a successful sacrifice bunt and moves runners up. And there is a positive feeling versus a strikeout that happens in that situation. Then everybody kind of dips and there's more pressure put into those situations, because I think sometimes we forget about the emotional side of the game and we just think too much about the analytical side of the game.
So I think sometimes we take the striking out. In that situation, I would take the strikeout, because if he hits the ball on the ground, you're going to get two. The guy runs like he's got a sack of potatoes on his back, right?
Piano, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, sure, that too. Yeah, John, I don't know. I know you're not a big fan of the bunt anymore either. Like, I do, again, don't get me wrong, I do think there's a place for it. That just last night did not seem to against that pitcher the way things were happening. I still think I would have pinch hit with like Jackson for him, though, even though they just sent him down when they brought up Sammy today. He's been struggling. I think he needs to play every day, and if he's going to come back, he comes back. But he was the move that was going to happen anyway. John, did you want to add anything?
For me, it's when you're struggling, when your offense is struggling, you need to take advantage of what you have. And, to me, a runner on second and third with one out, you have a multitude of ways to score that runner, where with your runners on first and second, there's only really one way to score. So I think when you're struggling offensively, you got to do things to kind of try to move your runners around. And I don't know. I mean, we've seen the Orioles bunt more, I think, but I think it depends on your team too. I mean, it's not, and it's who's up, right? You're not going to have Pete bunt. You're not going to have Gunner bunt. But Narvaez, who can't hit the broadside of a barn, and when he does, he gets 3 feet out of the batter's box and gets thrown out. Might as well make him useful. Or maybe he can't bunt either. I don't know.
No, he actually apparently can. However, what I will say is, so Jackson Holiday, in the game where the Orioles won in extras against Tampa, he sacrifice bunted when they had runners on first and second in the 10th, I think, and it didn't do anything. He gave up the out, right, and then neither run scored. It's just with this team, I guess for me, Mike, it's just for this team, you're like more than one thing has to happen. They have to execute the bunt, then they actually have to drive the runners in. Like, it's just
that's the statistical part too. Not only are you saying you have to lay the bunt down, but you have to actually lay it down and not pop it up and not get doubled off, or not bunt it right back to the pitcher and get the lead runner. So like, there's a lot of other things that could happen. So it's not just as easy as choice A and choice B, but it's definitely an interesting conversation to have. And I'm curious, I assume those are the conversations that, Albernaz is having in the dugout with his coaches, and they're kind of making those decisions probably a batter or two ahead of time, because that's why they get paid the big bucks.
Agreed. All right. So that really takes care of the Orioles tonight. John, give me one more update on what's happening.
It is 3-2 in the top of the sixth. Bassett's only at 85 pitches. He's got a 1-2 count. So Bassett's giving you 5 strong innings here, which you can't ask for much more from your fifth starter. But I mean, we leave 5 guys on base, and we just can't move base runners around.
Yeah, I mean that's two games in a row he's had quality-ish type starts. I don't know if it meets the criteria for that. But all right, let's move into the Ravens. Before we do that, John, can you tell everyone where they could find us, please?
So you can find us on the Spark Podcast Network, who we are brought to you by, sparkpodcast.com. You can find us on Apple and Spotify, also on social media, Dad Bods, Crab Cakes and Sports on Instagram and on Facebook, Crab Cakes _ Sports on the old X, the formerly known as Twitter. Also, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube, because YouTube we can get some viewers and maybe get some more people involved in Dad Bods and Orioles and Ravens and more. So please just like and follow us, even if you don't listen to it at all or occasional listener. Liking and following really helps us reach out to more people.
Outstanding. All right, Baltimore Ravens news. Unfortunately, they are dealing with another injury. Danny Pinter, in that center mix, was carted off the field today with the joint practice with the Minnesota Vikings with an apparent leg and knee injury. Did anything else, Mike? Did you see anything else come out about that, or was that the last? I didn't see any.
That's
updates.
That's the last I saw. John, did you see any updates?
I didn't. I'm checking X right now.
Okay.
To see if there's anything more on here. Because
apparently it didn't look very good, according to what what we're only hearing from what people were at the Vikings said about it. We weren't there.
Players took a knee, like they were visibly shaken. We'll find out more information as we go along. So as far as the center position goes, it's still kind of up for grabs. It sounded like, according to friend of the show and favorite Kevin Ostreicher with Locked On Ravens, that the leader in the clubhouse right now might be Javon Gwynn, which I don't think anyone really expected that at this point. But he kind of commanded the team correctly and made all the right decisions. Now, again, it's just a preseason game. But for me, whatever they decide, hey, that sounds great. I don't know much about most of these guys, right? So whatever we can do to put, because that's a very, very important position. And I also want to mention, you guys were I tuned into the show with you guys last Saturday. You guys were very excited about a preseason football game. I mean, I've never seen Mike that happy in a long time about like the Ravens. Goodness, the last time, Mike, I saw you that happy, it had to be like 2024, maybe 23.
Maybe 2019, that 5 touchdown game. Like I don't know. I think the funny part is the quarterback that I never even really watched. Like he just looks so smooth, and we're used to seeing like guys go out and get beat up and throw interceptions, and the offensive line like turnstiles, and like he had time to throw and was rolling and was throwing on time. I'm like, this looks like a well-oiled machine. You watch Ravens preseason football, it's like watching paint dry, and they get a win 19-16 usually, and it's like nobody really cares. So it was actually kind of fun football to watch.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say though is the body language, like some of the dumb penalties and stuff, like the Eagles did not seem like they wanted to be there. They did not. They're like, what are we doing here? So it just did not seem, and the Ravens were hyped in their home crowd and whatnot. And yeah, we showed off a couple nice little flashy weapons and stuff. I've told you guys this before. Preseason football to me, I just want them to be healthy. So that's why it does make me nervous a little bit with these joint practices, because usually you do a little extra that you're not going to do against your old guys, John. So when that happens, injuries could potentially become an issue.
Yeah, from what I could see on X, the early indications are it's something in the knee. So is it a meniscus? Is it an actual ligament? If it's a meniscus, they can clean it out and he'll be back in a few weeks. If it's an LCL, ACL, something of that nature, that's a season-ending injury. So let's hope it's the former, not the latter, because that would be terrible. But I was telling Mike on Saturday, I like the joint practices better than the games, because you can at least get some reps in, and see what you're doing against a team that's not your own. Not the same guys you're seeing every day in practice and stuff like that. But Um, I don't know. I was just excited to see football back on again.
I think that's for most people. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you haven't been around high school more so than the NFL, obviously. If you ask, and for me personally with soccer, like I love the like controlled scrimmage situations like they have in these joint practices because you can set up scenarios, you can set up plays, you can have their offense versus your defense, you can run certain schemes and have them run certain schemes. In soccer, I could run, we're down a goal, we're up a goal situations and scenarios. So like that's the great thing about a controlled practice. And if you ask any coach, I think they would really like that. Now, I also liked having one real practice game to get you in the mode to get your game rhythm down, your routine down, all that stuff like that you want to have for the regular season game. I bet if you asked NFL coaches and it wasn't about the money, they would do all joint practices and do one preseason game and would absolutely love it. But obviously, there has to be the money makers of having those tickets sold at the stadiums.
For real. Yep, for sure. I mean, so for the most part, besides the Pinter injury, seeming like it could be pretty bad, don't want to speculate, but most Marlin came back. Also Wiggins. I know Zay is working his way back. I don't think anyone's in any hurry, like for that. I know I'm not. And then all the starters are probably still not going to play this weekend. Anything you guys, and I'll start with you, John. I'll give you a shot to go first. What are you looking for out of this weekend's preseason game? Anything different from the first? And if you say Tyler Loop making kicks, I'm going to hurt you. Just warning you. We don't talk about kickers on this show.
No, I think I'm going to be interested to see what's going to be going on with the third and fourth string running backs. Seeing, we saw last week what's going on with the receiving core, behind Zay and Rashad. And Mike and I both said we were very happy with the way the receiving core looked. This weekend, I would love to see, what's going to happen with that third and fourth running back, what's going to go on with the ground game and see, obviously this isn't going to be the starting offensive line, but see what we're going to be doing on the ground. I felt on last week, it was a lot of passing, a lot of, getting the receivers opportunities to show what they can do. And this weekend, I think I want to see some of the running game.
Mike, anything different you're looking at? I mean,
I think Kevin Allstriker talked about it a little bit in his podcast today, Locked on Ravens. But like Brian Flores, if you're going to play against somebody, it's kind of curious to see what his defense does. And they kind of line up all over the place in different places. So I want to see what our offensive line particularly does this week, regardless of who's playing on the line against their defensive front, and see if they can protect. Apparently at practice, they had a tough time with some protection, and both offenses struggled a little bit today at the joint practice, but the defenses look pretty good in all regards, except apparently the Ravens defense struggled a little in the 2-minute drill. But I want to see our offensive line consistently able to protect our quarterbacks like they did in that first game. So to me, that's what I'm watching to see week in, week out, how that offensive unit looks, particularly the line.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of talk about the Ravens of old, like one of the things with that like 2000 team and some of the other Brian Billick teams, they were practicing against the best defense in the league every time they went to practice. And with Jesse Minter coming in, I'm not saying the Ravens is the best defense in the league, right? We're well off of finding that out. But what I'm saying is he's going to scheme up things. He's going to show them different looks. I hope the offensive struggles. That means that the defense is really come up with a good plan. And then when the offense goes to play certain teams, like the Bengals, whose defense is not great, or for example, then they can shine and they can build on that. I think the one thing I'm looking for is just continue to fine tune and continue to get better each week. Continue to improve until you get to the point where you're not making any mistakes or very limited mistakes. Like you're not jumping off sides, you're not holding, and just get better. And I know that's probably a cop out, but that's really all you can ask for, that and stay healthy. That's really it. That's all I got as far as that goes. You guys have anything else on the Ravens you want to mention?
Well, I'd like to see the defensive intensity stay to the point it was on.
Did I not give you a turn?
Did I not give you? My brain is going slow today. I was
Okay.
in training all day today, so I'm processing that information, and it's not running like a well-oiled machine.
Good for you, John. Good for
Hey,
you.
Jason, real quick, when tiny story, but also we went to the Oriole game. I said
That's what
last
she
night,
said.
and we all right went to the Orioles
Yay!
game last. All right, John. And Jackie and I had a little miscommunication about parking passes because I forgot that Julie actually, has a job that has a parking garage not far from the Ravens. But Jackie brought a parking pass. I was like, all right, great. We'll be right next to the stadium. Well, her parking pass was in lot F, which is
yeah.
you have to circle the Ravens stadium and park
Yep.
like underneath, where Martini, like that walkway there. So we're parked back there. But I got to walk past the new Ravens renovations. And the front of the stadium, man, all that like steel black that goes along with all the purple that's in that stadium now looks fantastic. Like I am fired up about that new venue. It looks so good. The stuff they did in the stadium. It sounds fantastic. Yeah, Jackie, shout out time. You're welcome, Jackie.
Yay! Oh, by the way, the Orioles parking passes is the biggest scam of crap I've ever heard of. Like, when I used to work for the Orioles. We had to park on weekend game days. During the week, we could keep our cars right there, front row in A, right near the warehouse. But on the weekends, or when the Yankees came into town or whatever, we had to move. So I'm giving up my parking for Yankee fans. It's great. But it was always down there where you're talking about. And like we had to take shuttles and stuff like that because some of them were even farther. So not a big fan of that situation, but I digress. Okay, John, your segment, John in left field. What do you got?
So I went to 2 games this weekend, and I met a bunch of Orioles fans, good Orioles fans, but I also met some Rays fans who were Orioles fans in the 70s and then moved to Florida. And after the Orioles stopped being so good, like they were in the 60s and 70s, they suddenly became Yankees fans. And then when the Rays came to town, Rays fans. So there's nothing that like gets me more like worked up than when like you have fans who suddenly switch allegiances because their teams aren't winning anymore. And, I think you have a lot of Orioles fans like this. I don't think you have as much Ravens fans. I don't see Ravens fans flipping. But, like, it's like I've supported the Orioles my entire life. You guys have supported the Orioles your entire lives. They've sucked a majority of our lives, yet we still come on the air 2 nights a week. We text every day about the Orioles and about everything that goes on with the team. And I don't know. It's these guys like in their 70s, and they're wearing all Rays gear now and stuff. And it's like, come on, guys, show some passion, have some heart, something to stick with your hometown team. So that's my out in left field. But then I also heard some funny stories. I don't know if you guys had these experiences, but at Memorial Stadium, they were telling me that they would lock the car and literally run from the parking lot to the stadium to avoid like being mugged.
In Memorial Stadium?
Back in the day, yeah. They were saying back in the day. And then there was some interesting stories about Memorial Stadium. But these older guys were telling me these stories while we were, I don't know if they were a couple beers deep, but they were, yeah. They were like, yeah, we locked the car, looked both ways, and ran to the stadium.
Outstanding. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, fair weather fans, man, they're always going to have them. All right, Mike, it's your time to shine. What is
it's my time.
Your dad joke of the
Oh,
night?
yes. Oh, it's my you guys are ready for this one. Oh, this one is a classic, an oldie but goodie. And I felt like we needed to go old school tonight. So we're in dad bod, so we talk about shape, being in shape or different shapes. So mine's a shape joke tonight. What did the triangle say to the circle?
What did the triangle say to the circle?
Oh boy.
I don't know, Mike. What did
You know what he said?
Oh boy.
You're pointless. You're
Oh
pointless.
boy. Attaboy, John.
Yeah. There
Well
it is.
done, everyone. I hope you waited around just for that. I have a cool little story. We're gonna do our predictions for the NL, NAL, Cy Young, and MVP next time. That'll be on Saturday. Join us Saturday at 10:30, please. But I have a cool little story. So part of my job, and my sales job, is when someone purchases something, I do what we call an onboarding call. And during that onboarding call, the purpose is to explain the service and show, but ultimately get them to upgrade or buy something else. I kind of plant the seed while you're doing it. So this call today completely went off the rails from the very beginning because the man was 1,433 years old. But the reason it went off the rails is he's like, well, when I pitched for the Cardinals, and I said, all right, I'm interested now. 9:30 in the morning. This is terrific. This is better than coffee. I get to talk baseball. Tell me all about it, sir. And he was on the Cardinals in 1964. He had a cup of coffee with the Cardinals, and in 1966 was with the Cubs. He was telling me that he played with Dave McNally a little bit. He and did some things, played with him. He told me a story that in 1964 he was there was a game and the Cardinals were getting blown out, and he was sitting there in the bullpen. He just came up. He was sitting next to an 18-year-old kid, and the 18-year-old kid's like, David, one of us is gonna have to get in there and mop up duty or something. I think it was like colorful language is what he said too. You guys know who that 18-year-old kid was? You might not, because he's in the Hall of Fame now. He pitched for the Philadelphia Phillies. He has a statue at the stadium. Steve Carlton. Steve Carlton. So, and he was telling me about that. He was telling me about Ernie Banks and some of these other guys. I was like, it is the coolest story. 45 minutes later, I got no money from the man. And we moved him on the way. Actually, no, he may actually purchase something else. But 86 years old.
It's not all about money. It was a great time, right?
Bob Gibson. Ooh.
Yeah, we didn't even really get into that.
Stan the Man.
Yep. A lot of Hall of Famers. So they won the World Series in 64. He did not get a ring, though, because you had to, at that point, be on the 25-man roster. I think at this point, they give rings to anyone that played during the season, but that was not the case then. Most of these guys had jobs during the offseason anyway. Yes, Mike.
Did you tell him if he bought a periodical from you or whatever that you would give him a 64 World Series ring?
Right. No, because the amount of commission I would get wouldn't even be able to cover that. Goodness gracious. Well, that's all I got here, guys. I wanted to end it with that story. I thought it was kind of cool. You guys have anything you want to add? Well, it was a great show tonight. Guys, don't forget, please, we had, again, Dave Lang from the Baltimore Ravens, the Senior Director of Digital Strategy and Innovation. Got it. Okay, he's in digital. That's what he said. He is doing this amazing thing where to raise money for ALS and the Brigance Brigade, he is doing the World Marathon Challenge. 7 marathons on 7 different continents in 7 different days. And the website, if you want to go, you want to support him, you want to read his story, you want to donate, you'd appreciate it. 777-FORALS.com. All right. Well, that is all we have tonight. Join us again Saturday night at 10:30. But before then, we have our fantasy show, 10:30 on Friday night, with myself, Colin Moderman, and your host, Michael Frisky. Again, for Mike Frisky, for John Lanscraner, for David Lang, I'm Jason Weisbecker, and we'll see you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your free podcasts. And while you're at it, leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes actions, memes, and bad sports takes. You can find us at Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports on Instagram, and Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports on our Facebook page. Until next time, keep rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game.